Oh, there's that sound. The new morning sound to walk you into the lab. Good morning, nation. Boom, boom. It's Accountability Day today. Hey, it's the morning alarm clock. Keith Bilous here, sitting in the green rooms. John Anderson and C. Marty Fit, bringing him in a second. And we got a guest today. Oh, I got some good sleep last night. Can you tell? Oh, yeah, last bags, lights looking great. I got some energy. Not that we don't bring energy every single day here. Hey, if you're laying in bed, my voice is encouraging to get your ass out of bed. Yeah, we're the morning show. We are mornings in the lab. We go Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Our purpose, our mission, we get you out of bed. Yeah, that's what we do. We get you to bed, get you moving, get your day going. Why? What else are you going to do? You going to sit around? You want to achieve some big goals today? Are you just sitting around? You're wondering what you're going to do next? I have an idea. Get up out of bed, get to the gym, get your day started. What are you waiting for? Get your day started. Coming up today, Robert J. Hunt, the accountability guy. We are talking accountability today. We are going to help you consider some of the biggest goals in your life, wrapping them up with the concept of accountability, and then moving that forward. So why don't I bring in my friends? I do have a couple of friends. Yeah. John Anderson and C. Marty Fit.
What's going down, everyone?
Gentlemen.
What's up, guys?
Hey, I got some good sleep last night. Can you tell?
There we go. That's what it's all about. We talked about the benefits of sleep yesterday.
We did. And you know, Anderson, I was looking at some of our I was doing some post-production last night, and you made a comment yesterday which stuck with me, which was, Nation, if you're setting an alarm to get up in the morning, you may want to consider setting an alarm to go to bed at night. I don't know.
That's the question. Did you go to bed on time last night? Is that why you feel so good today?
I did, Johnny. And that's
look at that. Look how it's so simple. We use alarms to get up, use an alarm to go to bed. Stop watching whatever you're watching and go to bed.
At least I wasn't stuck in the restroom after yesterday's show.
I was dribbling on the way, baby. I had the brakes clamped down as hard as I could go. So much I was waddling.
Oh, man.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
Yesterday, John was like, I got to go to the bathroom. And then he drops another gem. Like he wasn't trying to rush out of here and go to the bathroom.
I mean, because when it comes to helping people, I'm always going to serve before I go take care of my bathroom duties. For sure.
Hey, I respect it.
So, Nation, you know how our show works. Keith and Marty and John kick it off with a few minutes around the table just to catch up. We got the accountability check-in dropping it around the 17-minute mark of the hour. Robert Hunt's going to join us in a few moments, get to know Robert, and then we're going to dig into the big topic today around the 7:20 mark. But and then I'm thinking, Johnny and Marty, that it's time to maybe schedule P breaks into the show. So Nation, if you're over 50, like myself and John, and I think my friend Robert Hunt there, I don't know. I think Robert might be tickling 39, 40, John. So I'm just,
Don't offend Robert. He didn't even get in here yet.
Hey, Robert, Marty's taking on the role of Police Keith. So
yes, I have.
So Robert's going to join us in a few moments to talk about accountability. But
he said he's 61.
Come on, he's not 61. I don't believe
61? No way, man. I just saw him before I took a piss right before we started. There's no way that dude is brother. That's awesome. 61, getting the job done.
So Marty, can I drop? No, I'm not going to drop that. He's full of BS. I don't believe him. Robert, I need you to bring your ID to the show today. Because I don't believe there's no way you're 61, brother. There's absolutely no way. Because if you are, then you need to be serving up some water to myself and John Anderson.
Well, Me too. The bottom line is, I'll tell you at a glance, there's no way I'd have lost that bet in a heartbeat.
There, yeah, you and me both, Anderson. So here's the thing, Nation. We're thinking that if you're in your 50s, we're going to start scheduling P breaks because that's where the show's headed as we keep adding wonderful guests and wonderful conversation to the show, just so we can teach Marty what's coming. Because I brought Marty specifically on the show so I can show Marty the future. So I was like, hey, Marty, you want to join me on the show? He's like, yeah. I'm like, because I want to show you the future, man. The next 20 years ahead of you, just let me teach you so you can avoid all the mistakes I'm going to make, or I've made, I should say.
I'm here to listen.
That's it.
You know what mistake I won't make?
What?
Some of them jokes you be telling.
Nope.
I won't make those mistakes.
You know what else he's not going to do? He's not going to keep like a 5-pound Reese's peanut butter cup within reaching distance.
No, heck no, heck no.
Oh, you know what? I'm not going to live that. So I think more than ever, I'm going to have to keep that thing alive just to keep you guys honest and keep me on.
Did you put a big mark on that? Did you put an X across the front so we know you're not moving that thing around? Come on now.
Nope. But I'm going to. So
be accountable, brother. This is all about accountability. Get that pen out and be accountable right now. We all want to see some accountability. That's what the show is about, Keith. Jesus Come on, man. Christ almighty.
I'm doing it on the air, Nation. If you're listening to the show later, I'm taking my marker. I'm marking it up here for the boys to see me. And I have all the evidence that it's all marked up so that we know that if I open it, you guys can hold me accountable to it. So it's all, and I will make sure that I mark it up even more later today to show you guys, Nation. But yeah, the running joke, we officially have a prop on the show. And John, Marty, I might have to end up using it as my, if it ends up being a prop, I can use it for my yoga block. Yeah, use it for my yoga block. There you go. I did shoulders. I could have did shoulder presses with it today, Johnny.
Well, I mean, the thing looks heavy enough. God knows,
Oh, Marty, how was your day yesterday, pal? We wrapped up. What a great show yesterday. Wow, was it ever an awesome show. Great conversation, great energy. And, I want to say this too, Nation. I want to, before I follow up with my question to Marty. So in March, I just want to quickly pause and just, thank the people tuning in right now. March 11th, I started the show and nobody showed up. And there's a lot of people right now, John and Marty, that are considering starting a podcast, considering doing something, but they're scared. Like, what if nobody shows up? Like, what happens if nobody tunes in? What happens if nobody listens to my show? What happens if nobody listens or downloads my podcast? Or what happens if nobody, comes and interacts with my friends? There's a lot of people right now, John and Marty, that are just pausing going, I don't want to get started because I'm nervous. Well, I'll tell you something, Nation. March 11th, 97 shows ago, I started this thing. Nobody showed up. Yesterday, over 2,200 people showed up.
Well, brother, you know what the foundation of that statement and why people are not stepping forward is because people in general need to do things because they want to do it without some expected reaction.
Yes,
because it's that lack of expected reaction that keeps people on their heels. Yes. Do it because you love it. Do it because you want to do it. Do it because it makes you feel good. Do it because when that one person does show up, you're serving that person. But stop worrying about what other people think. That's going to be one of the biggest things that hold you back.
Yeah, you're bang on, man. You're bang on. Good morning, Sarvina. Good to see you here. Sarvina, you have not met our friend John Anderson yet, our new co-host on the show. Johnny, you're going to have to meet Sarvina. She makes some of the best dal on the planet, man. Wonderful cook. Marty hung out with Sarvina last week. Marty's leaning back because he could just, he's considering all the great food Sarvina makes.
It was good, too.
It was really good. It was really good. So
she didn't make my curry chicken though request.
Oh, curry chicken's good stuff, man. My wife makes a set of curry chicken that will basically knock your. Well, we'll put that one in the books at some point, Marty.
There you go. Good morning, Eden Teasdale. Good to see you on the show here this morning. How do you donate? Well, I'll give you my bank account number, and you can send some money. PayPal. We take PayPal. We take Patreon. John's got a Patreon account. So yeah, just Pigeon. Pigeons work great. Just roll it up into a tube and put it in the mouth and just send a pigeon on its way. That works great too. Yeah. Because myself and Anderson are ancient. So how I met John. I took a couple cans. I put the string together, threw it across the border. Said, Johnny, there's a can coming. He's like, yeah. And we put it to our ear. We talked in the string. Hey, Marty, you tried that before? Actually, you know what I'm talking about.
No. And when the can showed up, I see this can land on the ground and it had a little note that said, I have a major problem with a massive peanut butter cup. Please help me.
John, Marty said something, though, which I think we've got to try. So, Marty, you've never tried the two cans stuck between the string trick?
Never tried it.
It's pretty crazy how it works, dude. It doesn't make sense, but, I mean, it's pretty nuts.
Oh, so I think we're going to have to do a science test on the air, John. So how it works, Marty, is you take a can, like a regular soup can. You take two soup cans, put a string in between the two of them, and you can actually talk to the other person through the string and the two cans. And I am not, pardon my language, I'm not shitting you. It actually works.
Yeah, I think I've seen it on Little Rascals.
Yeah, literally. I mean, and then there's the telephone was born.
The Little Rascals.
The Little Rascals. Alfalfa did it, I think.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Alfalfa is the one who made the telephone. That's what I'm saying.
Well, we're on the same page, guys.
I related with Spanky.
Oh, you were like Spanky?
Who is a little porky sucker? That's who I was.
Yeah.
That's who I related to.
You were young? Is that because of the Kit Kat at 6 months?
No, that was me.
That was him. My mom was.
No, I'm asking Keith. Yeah.
I was a little husky child. Yeah, that's why I'm so probably.
My mom had much more sense than that.
What's going on, Antonova? Good to see you this morning. Thanks for joining the show. Hey, I encourage you to subscribe to our channel. Hit the old subscribe button, because if you don't, Marty's going to kick my ass here this morning. Subscribe, like, comment, share with your friends. Marty holds me accountable every single day, and John and Marty hold me accountable to this every single day. So please take some time to subscribe, like our channel, comment, share with your friends. We are going to bring in, so let's see here. Lauren's jumping in. Morning, Sarvina. Morning. And yes, it absolutely was in a little, yes, we are talking.
Hey, look, I know a little something, man. I might be younger than y'all, but I know a little bit.
I love the fact we're bringing Little Rascals onto the. Speaking of Little Rascals, gentlemen, why don't we bring in the Little Rascal himself, Robert J. Hunt, to the lab this morning? What's going on, Robert Hunt?
Morning, gentlemen.
How are you, brother?
I haven't heard Little Rascals quoted in quite a long time. That's pretty awesome.
Hey, I try my best.
I love it. So first of all, we have to get this on the table here. So there's no way, Hunt, you're 61.
Yeah, born in 1963.
Rocking, brother, rocking.
Well, that's fantastic. So what do you do for us? So hey, I know. So I've revealed my secret on the air. It's good lighting to make myself, look 10 years younger. What's your secret to staying young?
I eat a Reese's peanut butter cup every day.
I knew that was coming. I love it.
I like this guy. I like this guy.
That one, that hurt my heart. You guys were talking about alarms, and a couple of years ago, I felt that Kathy and I my beautiful wife and I had grown apart a little bit, and that's part of the book. And so one of the things we did is we set our alarm for 9:00 at night, and it says, "Go to bed with your beautiful wife." And it's this little reminder. And so we don't always have sex every night, but it's the idea that she's in my arms next to me, and we'll pray together. We'll just kind of wrap up the day, and we go to bed arm in arm. And sometimes she's not ready for bed, so she just gets back up and watch TV when I fall asleep. But at least for those few moments where she's in my arms, my world is complete. I've ended my day. Even if it sucked, I've got my beautiful wife next to me. So that alarm about going to bed, that's a powerful point.
Well, and brother, you just took the alarm of going to bed on time and completely supercharged it, which I love, man. It's not, then it's, that alarm is not, oh, son of a bitch, you got to go to bed. It's like, oh, let's go. Come on, wifey, let's jump in there. That's, that alarm has a payoff now. That's a great idea. But man, everybody listen. Sometimes alarms are a pain in the butt. This one is not a pain in the butt.
Even if you're having a fight or you're arguing, you had a bad day with each other, you can't go to bed and put your arm around the person you're married to if you're mad at them. Yeah. And so, it usually ends up with like, hey, I'm sorry I was a jerk today. And she's never wrong. She's amazing. She's fantastic. But it's usually me who was stupid. And I'll say, I'm sorry I was rude about this. And it's just, everything's good at that moment.
That's beautiful.
Hey, Jimmy, do we have Walter coming in? I'm sorry, Jimmy, do we have, Robert, you're muted on the vertical stream here. So Robert, if you could unmute yourself on the you got two streams going here. If you can unmute yourself on the vertical, that'd be great, so we can hear you, so our audience can hear you on that side of the fence as well. We can see you there. Okay, great. So if you can,
does that work?
I think so. Jimmy, can you confirm that for us? That'd be awesome. While Jimmy's confirming whether Robert, can you say hello again?
Hello again. I muted that because I thought it would make an echo, so I thought I'd mute one of those mics, but again, rookie mistake.
There you go. So I want to lean back into what you said, though, because John Anderson taught me something and taught Marty something over the last week when we kind of getting to know John. Is he made a comment, John, and this stuck with me, man. You made a comment last Friday when you sat down with myself and Marty, and you talked about how as you go through your day and you reevaluate your day, as you approach 4 or 5 o'clock, you make sure that you are in a space to reconnect back with your wife at the end of the day.
Yep.
Robert Hunt just said the same thing. You know what? I've taken what you said, John, to heart, because I've been thinking about that. And Robert, you've given me a good reminder as well. And those are golden nugget tips that seem so cliche, but we often, men, don't do it or forget about it or don't even consider it. I want to lean into this for a couple of moments, John and Robert. Let's talk about the power of ending your day with your significant other.
Let me just real quick. I want to take because Robert brought forth the alarm of going to bed that includes the wife, which I love.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Well, when we were talking about the end of the day coming, I have an alarm that goes off that tells me to get my shit straight because, the wife deserves my attention soon. So I not only, have that, I make sure that I prepare myself to get there, but I have an alarm that cues me off. The countdown is coming, brother. You got about 30 minutes till you got to be on point. You need to bring your best to your wife because she deserves it.
Dude, that is just freaking exceptional, man. That just gives me goosebumps. So dig in. So your alarm goes off. Your phone says, "All right, Anderson, it's time."
It says, "Get your shit straight." Literally, that's the label of that alarm.
Well, and you should set alarms if you want to have a discipline towards something. You should set your alarms that have the word of the deliverable. And so if it says like drink water, I don't want to drink water. But if it says, stay on top of your game by drinking water, there's got to be a reward associated with it. And so for those things that we want to build into habits, this comes back to that book, Atomic Habits. There's got to be something that we value in that thing. Every time a little ding goes off, if you don't have a reason to do it, you won't do it. You just ignore it, snooze, or go move on. But the idea of ending my world, ending my day with the woman who loves me more than anyone on this planet, that is a treasure. That's my opportunity. I'm not going to miss that because we're watching Suits on Netflix for the third time.
Yeah. It's interesting, Robert and John. I read a piece last week, and I know we're going to get into accountability, but I'm sorry, but I can't not lean into this because this is important. We're here about giving nuggets, and I know Marty's leaning into this as well. Like, this is something that we should talk more about, right? We just is putting the important people out of life at the top of the list here. But I read an article a couple weeks ago, guys, how books and TV are killing intimacy, and the article didn't talk about devices, but how books are the silent intimacy killer. Right, where we will quickly pick up a book, and we will pick up a book. It allows us to create a barrier for our significant other in a polite, respectful way, but in reality, it's actually killing intimacy. Thoughts and comments on that, Robert, John?
Oh yeah, phone's even worse. My phone is a total intimacy killer, and it's a relationship killer because no matter if you're talking, me and John are talking, and something, my phone dings. Vibrates, but whatever. And I stopped looking at John and look at this. I've now said to John, you're not as important as this thing.
Yep.
And when I'm with people, especially when I'm doing coaching sessions or in my meetings, my phone is off. And so I want the person to know that whoever I'm with, you're the most important person in my life at that moment. And if I let some other digital things rob me of that chance to honor them and care for them, that's a wasted moment.
Yeah. I will admit I'm not good at it. I'm the first person to admit that I'm not good at it. And I try to work at it every single day. I try to create awareness with it every single day. Some days I'm just so focused on building the business, John, Marty, Robert, that I will admit that I suck at it. There's days that I really.
Well, we can't multitask. So if you're doing that, you're giving away your attention to the thing you were going to do right here. There's studies that show that you don't actually multitask. You do 100% here, then you quickly do 100% here, and then you quickly do 100% there. Yeah. You're not doing two things at once. You're doing 100%, but you're slowing down the learning when you switch over. It's a microsecond, but still you've left, and your ability to think and reason takes time to ramp up. So you're actually slowing down your productivity anytime you do anything other than one thing you were supposed to do. So if you say, I want to write an email, take the phone, put it away, put it on mute, whatever. Don't let it see or flash. And be 100% here. You'll do it in 10 times the speed that you would do if you let emails pop up on your screen or your phone vibrate. All it does is distract you. It ruins productivity. My clients hire me to help them be more productive and reach their goals. That's a simple thing we work on. Something as simple as that is do one thing at a time is huge to multiply productivity.
Yeah. On that level, so true. I love it, brother. One of the things I noticed for myself and even with my clients as well, very similar, is when it's time to do something, you literally just live in the present with what you're doing. And it actually, when you commit to it, you do it better, you enjoy it more. And it's like this positive vortex. Next time that task comes up, you have more of a draw. You know, the last association you had with that task was good and you want to do it again. It's because all you did was eliminate the distractions so you could live in the moment, commit, do the job really well. That brain gives you that little bip of dopamine, makes you want to do it again. And it's like all because we were able to do, just like you said, focus on one thing at a time. I love that, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, so true. We're talking accountability, talking with Robert J. Hunt, John Anderson, myself, C. Marty Fit, coming to you here this morning at 20 minutes after the hour. We're going to jump in, Jimmy, into the accountability check-in in about 2 minutes, but I want to take a moment to introduce Robert Hunt and get into some of the notes that we made about the guy. So the nation's listening, going, who's this Hunt guy? Like, why should we pay attention to him? So Robert is the accountability guy. He's the accountability guy. He helps leaders, John, Marty, achieve their goals and be their best selves. But I got to be honest, man. I thought I was the accountability guy. And then I meet this Robert J. Hunt guy. He's like, no, I'm the accountability guy. I'm 61. I'm older than you. I'm like, oh, okay. So I guess I'm going to stand behind Robert. Robert, you're going to be the accountability guy. I'm going to be the little mini Robert Hunt. He's the leader of CEO peer groups, Marty. He conducts meetings and one-on-one executive coaching in Dallas, Fort Worth. DFW, go DFW. He's an obstacle remover. He uses peer advisory boards, team building, and leadership development to clear success roadblocks. And apparently, John, I don't know, he's a fun and passionate coach. Apparently, he's fun.
Well, I got to tell you, right, the things that he said already on the show are already, I mean, they're so true and so on the money. And the things that he said, I mean, you've already got takeaways, and we're just getting them introduced.
And
it's interesting. It sounds so good because it's all written up nice. But every one of us has a story like that. What we have not done is step back and look at it objectively. Ray Dalio is like one of the richest men in the world.
Yes.
And Ray says that you should look at things like it's a machine and objectively figure it out. And we don't look at our own lives that way. We just think, I lost my job, or I got divorced, or I had, all the things that are bummer. But we've done so much. We've accomplished so much. And all these things that I've been able to do is because of the junk I learned, the hard things I went through, the mistakes I made. Yeah. The view from the top of a mountain is beautiful, but all the fruit grows in the valley. And when you're in hard times, you learn stuff, you grow. And so that intro is beautiful. I want to meet me.
and I'm not done yet, because Robert's a trusted advisor. He inspires and supports many successful leaders with dynamic coaching methods. But I think, and I want to call this out, and I put this on the table, when I met Robert through his words, Robert's a man of God. Robert follows a man of faith, and he wakes up every single day following spirituality and following faith. And I have nothing but props and respect for that. We have all the time in the world for spirituality here in the lab. So Robert, I applaud you for your commitment and for your purpose in life at doing such that. So I welcome you to the show here today, and very much looking forward to having an awesome conversation with you this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
just a quick side then. I think it's cool that you applaud my faith, because for some reason people have begun to think you can't live out your faith. One of the best things you can do for your mental health is to live out your faith. When you are not consistent with who you are, and you go to work and you put something like faith away, and you spend 5 or 6 days all day long being something you're not, or leaving part of what you are away, you're incongruent with who you are. Yes. And all day long, there's this weird stress. It'd be like me going to work and say, oh, I don't have a wife. I don't have 2 kids. You are who you are. And your faith does not have to be my faith. That's not my job to save anybody in the world.
Exactly.
It's my job to not be an example of reasons why people don't want to be a Christian. That's my job. But I don't have to convert anybody. God does that. And all I have to do is not suck at what I'm supposed to do as I walk with Jesus. But people have felt for some reason, don't talk about religion. It's really taboo. It's like in politics and all that. It's the people who do it wrong that ruin it for everybody else. Yes. But still be who you are. Go to work. Every CEO I know wants someone who's got integrity, honesty, hard work, dedication, loyalty, kindness. These are all principles that I have as part of my faith because of what God's done for me. So if I bring that to work, I'm a better employee. I'm a better human. I treat the guy at Starbucks nicer. I don't give someone the middle finger when they cut me off at traffic, because these are just the things that flow out of me because of who I'm letting to be myself. Yeah. So thank you for recognizing that. That's really cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have the future joining us here this morning. We got the future. What's going on, Enzo? So, Robert, just so you know, if you're looking to, I say this every single day, but we have somebody join us from the future. So if you're looking to make lottery picks today, or Bitcoin predictions or stock choices, Enzo will absolutely help you because he knows what's happening.
Sweet.
He's in New Zealand, so he'll get you on there. So, yes, we are hanging out with Robert here this morning. Good to see you, Enzo. But Robert, I want to just lean into that for a quick second before I get into the accountability check. And Marty, John, and Jimmy, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't introduce you, including faith as part of who you are. And I learned that with a guest that I had on the show a number of months ago because he didn't want me to talk about it. And I was like, yeah, but that's like me telling everything about you except for the last piece.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I'm if we're truly going to be true to ourselves, let's talk about all sides of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and every side of it. So, while we are here not to, we're not a cult of anything, but we are here to celebrate and bring humans to the table and talk about what moves them forward. And if faith happens to be part of your story, I know faith happens to be part of Marty's story. Spirituality is part of my story, and I'm sure it's to some extent part of John's. Let's
100%.
Let's put it on the table, right? So, I'm happy that you acknowledge that as well, Robert. That we're all about that here in the lab. But hey, listen, let's do this, nation, before we get into our chat with Robert. Where is my button, Jimmy? My button is right here. Yep, there it is. I'm gonna do this. Hey, Johnny, go for a pee if you got to go for a pee. Robert, you got to go for a pee. Go for a pee. I'm gonna talk for a moment and get you guys off the stage. All right. Here's the time. Here's the time of the show where I invite you all to be thinking about accountability. That's what we're here to talk about today. And as you're going to learn from our conversation with Robert Hunt coming up, I can assure you that no external system, no external system is going to get you here. It's true. You're wondering what's the hook, Keith? Well, the hook is this. Whatever your goal, a system, a book, recipe, instructions, none of that is going to work if you're not accountable to it. Hell, you want a system? I'll say you system 10 grand. Here's a system. This system is going to make you strong. It's going to help you lose weight. It's going to help you achieve the biggest goals in your life. But if you can't own that responsibility of your goal, if you can't own what you're aspiring to achieve, if it's not that important to you, put the system away. Save your money because it actually doesn't mean anything. Internal drive, this intrinsic inside of us, that's non-negotiable. Systems, all they do is support you. And they drive up your Amex or your Visa or your MasterCard because you're out there buying systems. I know you're going system. I got to buy a system. Yeah, go buy the system. But it means nothing to you if you can't achieve it. If you can't find that intrinsic desire within yourself to hit that goal. So I'm going to invite you to stop chasing the next best big thing and start building your inner strength. Make a commitment to yourself, not a commitment to a system that you don't know whether it's real, whether it's fake, whether it's just going to take your cash. Put the system aside. Follow your ambition. Follow through with that relentless action. Because I'll tell you right now, nation, and Robert Hunt's going to probably repeat this. Success, it starts within. It's the daily choice. Like we talked to start the show, the daily choice of setting that alarm to go to bed and setting that alarm to start the day. That is not a system. That's accountability to yourself. So I invite you, think about it. Put the systems aside, look in your own mirror. Take a dose of accountability and move throughout your day. That's the accountability check-in we drop every single morning here around this time. A little reminder, an awareness reminder to help you get your day started here on the morning show. All right, gents, talking systems today. I got to tell you, we all see it, right? We see systems being sold everywhere. LinkedIn, X, Threads, everybody's selling a system. Hey, John, hey, Marty, system. And could you imagine all the money everybody makes from systems that people don't Like, you think about gyms, right? Sorry, John, but gyms are like the biggest system scam. It's like, hey, here's your membership, and then they show up for a week, and then nobody shows up for the rest of the year. But systems mean nothing if you have no ability to be accountable to yourself.
100%.
Let's dig into the topic of accountability today. Robert Hunt, Marty, John Anderson. Let's talk about secrets for a productive day. And what do we think is the biggest challenge that people have with understanding and achieving accountability? Let's start with you, Robert Hunt. Let's understand accountability. Let's get this conversation started.
One of the key principles we talk about in our book, Nobody Cares Until You Do, is the idea that nobody can hold anyone accountable. We say these words, and I know that it's become kind of common vernacular. I'll have my buddy hold me accountable, or I have an accountability partner, or my clients will say, I'm going to hold my employees accountable. The reality is you can't, because in a lot of cases, if I say, John, I'm going to go to the gym every day of the week, and I'm not going to eat my peanut butter bars anymore, and I'm just going to eat vegetables. And then you call me on Thursday and go, how's the gym going? And I lie to you and I go, man, I've been in there every day and I've eaten nothing but vegetables. You, by calling me, did not hold me accountable. Me, by lying to you, is accountable to the lie I just laid out there. But it's easy for us to have this kind of crutch where we put it on somebody else. I'll hire a coach. You pay people at the gym to have a coach a trainer who will walk you through. But if you're not trying, he might see you doing something and you might do this and you might actually do the exercise, but you could have done it more. But you're like, oh, that's it. That's all I can do. And then he tries to push you, but you don't. So he can't make you any more than anyone else make anyone to do anything. So once we take off that crutch of having someone else walk our journey for us, when we really truly own it, which own it is the simplest definition of accountability. You own it. It stops with you. It's that simple. So when we get to that place where we say, I want something so bad that I see a vision of what it looks like and I'm chasing that, then you don't need someone to motivate you, push you, call you, remind you. You do it because you want it. And I think that's the difference, is people don't have a vision for their life or a purpose that they're chasing. They're just existing. And that becomes pretty boring, and there's no motivation behind that.
No motivation behind that. John, Marty.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all of it's so true, bro. I sit here and listen to you talk, and it's like, I love it, because and this is what people need to hear, and, myself, when it comes to, looking at a mentor or a coach or something like that. And this is something I believe in. And I think if people hear this, it'll make a lot of sense, is you need to hire a coach or a mentor to teach you to do it yourself. Don't hire a mentor to sit there and hold, some sort of a jackhammer over your head so you do it every day. That's not helping you. That's an enabler. That's not a coach. So really think about it. A lot of times people say, I can't do this unless I have, somebody telling me how many reps to do. You've made that choice to have that crutch, just like we're talking about here. So if you're going to hire a mentor, a coach, or all the above, whatever you want to call them, really, really understand are you hiring someone that's going to help you do this on your own? Or are you hiring someone that is basically an enabler that's going to sit there and only tell you what to do in the moment?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wanted to add too, how do you feel about this? A lot of people, I'm in the fitness space like John. So, I'm coaching. A lot of people will blame the trainer or blame their coach, outside of fitness, when they don't get the desired result. But I tell my clients, like, are you being a good client? Like, are you following directions? So do you ever believe that someone can be a bad client or not coachable? You speak on that a little bit.
Yeah, a good coach never tells anyone what to do. A good coach will ask them what they want to do and help them get the effort towards it. If you hire a consultant, they come in to look at your business and they say, well, your cash flow is wrong and you've got too much inventory. You don't have enough staff to do this. And they tell you what to do. When you're with a coach should never tell you what to do. A coach should say, well, what do you want to do? What's your goal? What's your priority? What do you visualize? What do you see? That's why in our book, Nobody Cares, we have this satisfaction assessment. It's a set of wheels. And you fill out in the wheels where you're satisfied or not. And if you say, I'm not satisfied with my marriage, okay, great. What do you want to do about it? I mean, what should it look like to you? And then based on what it should look like and what you want, you can make a plan. we outline in the book all the things. I'll save that for a minute, but to answer your question, a coach doesn't tell anyone what to do. We help them discover what they want, and we help them take the first step towards getting it done. But it's all on them. Coach did not tell Michael Jordan how to throw up a ball, right? That would be ridiculous. But he had a coach nonetheless, and the coach was there saying, "Hey, what's going on? How come you seem down today?" And helping him see things he didn't see, but he did not tell him what to do.
Yeah, that's such a good point right there. Such a good point. It's and to further that, one of the things that I recommend for people to kind of get into that mode where to start working on their own self-reliance and self-sustainability with motivation is, we live in every day is like a new opportunity. And that first couple of minutes out of bed is where you set the tone. Like I wake up in the morning and literally the first thing that I do, my brain, because of, as a fat little boy with a learning disability, I got picked on. So I lived in fear for a pretty good chunk of the early part of my life. I wake up and my mind immediately goes to the problems that are in front of me for the day. So literally I used to have an alarm that woke me up, and 1 minute later I had another alarm that went off that said, get the negative shit out of your head. It was a reminder I didn't have to be there. And then I changed. What I did is I changed it's almost like your mind is like a muscle. You recreate what it does in terms of the patterns. And if I hadn't done that, and I still battle with it every day. It's not like you just fix this with an alarm and it goes away. It's constant management. But to really, really get yourself in the right place and start off some easy wins, get yourself in that place where you want more, makes it much easier to carry out these tasks and plans that we're talking about here.
We're talking accountability, talking productivity, talking about how to get your day started. Accountability with Robert Hunt, C. Marty Fit, John Anderson, and myself on the morning show here, 8:00 Eastern time. We drop Monday to Friday here on the show. Subscribe, like, comment on the channel to keep this content coming into your feed daily. Robert, let's talk about the idea of structure and accountability. So building accountability structures. John talks about getting out of bed and having his water. Marty talks about the first things he does when he gets out of bed. Talk about the power of structure to create accountability and using devices like, an Apple Watch or a Fitbit or a Samsung device or technology devices that help us. John talked about, setting an alarm. Talk about how we can use the devices around us to create, whether it's real, false, accountability. Robert.
Yeah, there's no tool that will create accountability. There's tools that can remind you of what you want in your life. And so when I get up in the morning, I have time with the Lord where I read some scriptures and I talk to God and I listen to see what's on my heart, what's he sharing with me. But I have this thing I journal. And I never journaled. I always made fun of it. I thought it was really lame. And so for years and years, I ignored it. But last October, I just was so defeated. All these thoughts were spinning around my head. So I wrote them down. And I looked at him, I thought, that's not true. Why are you saying that? You don't believe that. But until I got it out of my head and onto a piece of paper where I could compare it, that's a lie. I don't suck. I actually started a hero book. It's in my other drawer where I had it carried around in my pocket for 6 months. And every time someone said something nice to me, I wrote it in my book. And then when I felt down, I'd look at my book and I'd say, that's not true. You don't suck. So we need some time to be grounded. That's why whether it's a faith or it's just you being quiet and reminding yourself of all the blessings you have. If you're actually watching this show right now, you're richer than most of the world. And you have a computer and you have time. And everyone else gets up and says, today I hope I find food. And man, we don't have that. So we got to stop being a bunch of crybabies who have all these things with work and all these problems. And we just need to own it and be grounded. So I think having some time in the morning, the discipline to do that, and that's where digital gets in the way. Leave your phone in the other room. Spend some time quietly getting grounded. You have a great life. You don't have cancer. And if you do, you're in the process of working on it. But there's so many blessings that go on if you can just be grounded. I think that's the way to start your day.
Oh my God. It's powerful, brother. Powerful. And I love the fact that a lot of the stuff you're talking about, I have a version of what I'm doing. So to hear somebody like you, it's always wonderful to hear someone else basically kind of putting a stamp on similar stuff that you do, because that's the stuff that you're talking about. I have my own variation. It works, man. It works.
Right on.
Starting your day with a ritual. Robert, helping somebody continue their day. Are you a fan of, midday rituals or mid-moment check-ins where, 24 hours is a long, it's funny because Martin and I talk about days so often where we as humans are programmed to think about days when I think we should think about hours, right? Because when we think about days, we go, okay, I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to be full, and then I'm going to eat again tomorrow. When you start thinking about hours, it makes time feel more appropriate. I guess the question I'm asking, Robert, is, are you a fan of these midday check-ins or end of day check-ins so that you can, we have that awareness that we are on our way to achieving the goals we started out in the morning?
Each person's different as to what they need. What I'm a fan of is creating room in your life to avoid overload. There's a book over here called Margin. It's written by Richard Swenson. And about 8 years ago, I read it and it changed my life. And I started looking at, what do I want my life to look like? Swenson was a doctor who had patients that came in that were sick, and he couldn't help them get over their sicknesses because they were overloaded. They were just broken down, stressed, overloaded people, which is how our world works today. And my clients, they run big companies and they have a lot of things going on and they want to have a family life and they would like to rest once in a while. And so we tried work-life balance and that didn't work. And we tried work-life integration and that didn't work. Margin is the one that recognizes there are limits to everything. And as long as you can be below the limit, you have room for what comes up that you don't plan for. Most people run their lives above their limit. They book their calendars fuller than they should. They have their finances higher than they should. If the washing machine breaks down, they're screwed. What kind of life is that? And then they have their health. They're obese. They don't work out. They don't move. They don't take vitamins. Whatever you want to do, they just don't get a good night's sleep. Drink water. There's so many things you can do to honor your health. So simple. And so they have no time. They have no room for money. They have no room for the health. And their emotion is ready to explode. And then they go to work and they try and be functional, productive, and they're not. And this is where you have to step back and say, what do I want my life to look like? And if I look at it and I have room for something in each category, when something goes wrong, because it goes wrong every day, you don't freak out. And we have to guard the emotional bucket because we just don't know what that's like at any moment. I think I'm having a great day. So some guy cuts me off and next thing I'm honking my horn, trying to chase him down and look in the window, see what he's like. I can give him in the face. What's that from? That's because your bucket's too full of emotion.
Yeah.
We guard the first three to save the fourth one, which is emotion. That being said, you have to figure out what your life looks like. And that comes back to that satisfaction wheel of what I want to do. I want to end my day with my beautiful wife. I want to have conversations with friends. I want to have enough time to stop and assess and take notes because I forget stuff. And so I want to have a break between every meeting. So I never plan meeting. That's just foolishness. You're setting yourself up to lose. Even if you're a weight trainer, a coach, and you're in the gym and you have client after client after client, where did you stop in between that to answer your phone, to check and see if the world's okay, to take a pee break, to make a note, to just get recentered so that when the next person shows up, you're on top of your game, ready to care for people. We don't create a world like that. I think it's more important to create a world that looks like the world you want to have. Instead of trying to optimize your crappy world, why don't you create the world you really want and then go chase that?
Yeah, no kidding. John,
like
that is so huge. And it, that process you just described where people kind of overload themselves. A lot of times it happens in a way where all of a sudden their lives, they're just running from emergency to emergency. If they're not handling anything as it should, they're going to the next thing that's going to explode if they're not there. And life is, they're living in this state of emergency, which how could a person be happy that way? And it's like a boa constrictor. Someone starts off overloading themselves a little bit. Next thing you know, just like you said, it's everywhere. And they're living in this state of emergency. And you see people like this all the time and they have no clue they're doing it. So if you find yourself feeling like you're always rushing to something that needs your time, you kind of just heard what's going on. And I mean, what would you say, Robert, for the person that is running emergency? What does that person, what's the first step for him to actually slow this process down?
The first step is to acknowledge there's limits and to recognize that at some point productivity goes down. So if you had like a chart and you show stress or productivity is going up and stress is going like this, as you're productive, you get more stress, like a machine. When you turn on a machine, when it starts out slow, it's nothing. But as it gets more and more busy, it's putting stress on the machine. At some point, you optimize the productivity compared to the stress. Well, as we get to this point in our own lives, when we go past there, we start to see stress points, we see fatigue, wear and tear, burnout, and then we crash. Well, we live over here, which is the overload. And since we're already in overload, if one thing goes wrong, we fall apart. So the first thing is to recognize everything has a limit: time, health, finances, and your emotions. If I can really acknowledge that that has a limit, what do I want my life to look like within those limits? So I don't plan calendar meeting. I plan to have rest and to have focus. If I'm heavy in debt, I got to fix that right now. We still drive one car. In our book, we talk about how in 2019 we owed $90,000 in credit card debt to the government for my business, and that doesn't include the house or the cars. And we just were stressed. It was horrible. We fought. I was angry at God that He wasn't blessing me with enough money to get out of debt. But He's like, "Hey, I gave you millions of dollars. What'd you do with it? Why would I give you more?" And so we had to own it and realize that all the things that were wrong were due to us. So when we owned it, we decided to sell our house, take the money out of the house and pay off all our debt and start over. And that was March of 2020. And then COVID shut down the world, but we were debt free. And so we just started this process of looking at everything in our life. We went to counseling. I lost 40 pounds. Wow. Everything that I just didn't like about myself and my world, we said, that's not the view of my world. I don't want to have that. And in our book, we talk about all the reasons why people make excuses why they can't do something. They blame someone, they make an excuse, they say they can't, or they just wait and hope it gets better. And that doesn't change anything. We did that for years. But it wasn't until we finally came to the point we said, look, nobody cares unless you do. And when you care enough to do something about it, everything can change. And that's when we took accountability for our problems, our journey, our relationships, our health, everything. And it's been a big journey since then of owning it. And everything still is hard, but it's hard to live life as a victim. I think I'd rather live life trying to work towards victory than to live life as a victim. Being a victim sucks, but working towards a victorious life is awesome. And it's hard work. Either way is hard work. This one's going to have a better payout.
Yeah. Marty, Jimmy, we're going to throw to the fit tip in a day here in about 2 minutes or a minute or so. But Marty, you and I were talking last week here in the lab. We were talking when you program your clients, you give them rest time, and you give them rest time on purpose. And I was listening to John and Robert talk about back to back meetings. And I'm guilty of that. Like, I got to fit everything into the day. I got to get everything done. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, that's like Marty giving me a workout or John giving me a workout and just going, okay, Bilous, go. Bench, squat, shoulder press, bench, squat, shoulder press with no rest. Could you imagine how unproductive and how useless my lift would be if I didn't rest, recover, and consider what I did in between sets and everything? And that's just like putting your meetings back to back, Marty. Right?
Yeah.
There's no time to reflect on what you've accomplished. So that awareness in itself was like, yes, back-to-back meetings really suck. Take some time in between. Hey, Marty, take some time in between the sets, eh?
No, absolutely. And if you don't take time in between the sets, you can get injured. So now you can't work out tomorrow. So maybe the same thing with burnout. You burn out from those meetings, you can't perform tomorrow, and that's going to hinder your growth for your business.
It's exactly
your relationship or whatever. Yep.
Those mental injuries are brutal, and you can serve those up to yourself real quick.
Yes.
Most of the problems that we see coming through our CEO peer group that I lead is not work related. It's personal related that affects work. And if you have, for example, we have a bad employee, he's not doing his job. That's because his marriage is falling apart and because he's got a drinking problem.
Yeah.
But we don't touch that. That's not our stuff. Well, why not care for the human that he is and say, dude, you used to rock at your job and now you're here. What's going on? We don't ask that question because HR doesn't allow us to have those conversations. That's ridiculous. If the guy had cancer, we'd get him to a doctor and nobody would say, well, don't interrupt his health. No, he's got cancer. Go to get him to a doctor. But if he's got marital problems, don't we care enough about him as a human to say, well, what are you doing about your marriage, dude? We're asking these questions. We should care about the humans in our world. My leaders are more productive and they have more fun in life when they create margin, when they create room for things. They get things done faster because their brain is clear. You know how you wake up in the morning and you already think, oh, today's going to suck. I've got a million things to do and I'm already behind and I haven't even got out of bed yet. That's a bad day because you already set yourself up to lose. Yeah. But if you can clear your brain and you can be focused, you can get done in 5 minutes what could take you an hour. Because you've lived under overload, it takes you longer than it does when your mind is clear.
Don't even get me started with HR, Robert Hunt. I love my friends in HR, but sometimes I think it's RH, right? Ruining humans. Because we don't want to talk about it's like, well, no, but you can't talk to Robert about that. Really? Come on.
And I'll defend the HR people too. I have an HR peer group that I lead, and I know those people, and they're awesome. The reality is they're doing what the CEO tells them to do. Yes. They're saying, I don't want to pay this claim. I don't want to have this problem. I don't want to have to look for another employee. You go fix it. But instead of building a culture where the whole company is a place where everybody feels valued and they want to bring their A game to it, we try to put Band-Aids on it by making punitive responses to problems instead of caring for people. And the HR people I know, they love their people, but they are only allowed to do what the CEO allows them to do. More than the code of the PHR. It's about what is the owner or the leader of the company establishing as a policy.
Yeah, exactly. Marty, you're up, my friend.
Oh, let's get it. I was gonna make a comment.
We're doing the fitness tip of the day with Marty. He's gonna come back and give his comment and continue the conversation with Robert Hunt on accountability. But Marty, fitness tip of the day, up to you, my friend.
Fitness tip of the day. Let's get into it. All right. Fitness and leadership are intertwined. Let's talk about it. Leadership and fitness are deeply connected. Here's how. Resilience. Push through challenges like the last rep. Fitness builds mental toughness. Super important in fitness. Strategic rest, like we just talked about. Recharge to come back stronger. Leaders need to Leaders need to rest just like athletes. If you don't rest, you won't be effective on the next set, the next day, and that turns out to you not reaching your goals. Precision. Proper form equals better results. Attention to detail and leadership fosters excellence. Adaptability. Switch up your routine to stay sharp. Leaders must adapt to thrive. You got to keep shocking your body. Empathy. Group workouts build camaraderie. Leaders who engage in team fitness foster deeper connections. Leverage these fitness principles to elevate your leadership. It's a win-win. And that's the fitness tip for today.
Party Fit drops every single day around this time. Admittedly, we're still figuring out when it drops, but we're dropping it every single day with content and commentary to help you get your day going. Things to consider. We're talking accountability with Robert J. Hunt, the accountability guy, the youngest guy in the room. We're going to get into the contrarian view here in a moment around public accountability versus keeping goals private. But Marty, you wanted to follow up the conversation we were having with Robert around HR and putting people in boxes and perhaps not allowing people to succeed and so forth. Marty, you had a question. You had a comment for Robert.
It was just a comment. I know I'm not really familiar with HR with me being in personal training for so long. But didn't we talk to somebody on here, Keith, about athletes having a space or a person that they can talk to about their personal problems? Mm-hmm. I had no idea that wasn't a thing in corporate America or corporate Canada. So that's all I was going to say. I had no idea about that.
I think there's still boxes that people, I don't know, Robert, you want to lean into this for a quick second? There's still, I'm going to use the word woke, but society has moved to a place where sometimes we just can't talk to the other human because we're too concerned about offending Marty. We're too concerned about asking Marty the wrong question. We're too concerned about maybe assuming Marty is this. When it's like, wait a minute, dude, you put your pants on the same way I do? You go pee in the toilet? Yeah. You have sex with your wife? Yeah. You know how to make humans? Yeah. Okay. I'm a human. You're a human. Let's talk. Right.
This podcast has talked more about urine than any other podcast I've been on in my life. I'm very fascinated by the attraction.
Well, it's all because John Anderson came.
I came when I came in. I said, "Look, I drink 1.5 liters of water out of bed, so you're going to have to cut me loose to go to the bathroom. This is a 90-minute show. I'm never going to make it, baby."
But Robert, we tend to put everything in a box, and we in many ways we've lost to humanity. And I'll just say this too: it's going to be controversial, but I don't mind that DEI has kind of gone wayside in a lot of corporate North America, because when DEI came out, it was all about just checking the box.
Yeah, but I think it's still alive. But let me tell you that the DEI, diversity without a vision, is chaos.
Yes.
So I'm all for DEI, but that means everything, not just the DEI that a few angry people want.
Yes.
DEI for everybody. So if I want to live out my faith at work, that's my diversity and inclusion. And if someone's a homosexual, they should be included to be a homosexual and not be ragged or picked on by guys who just don't understand or feel uncomfortable with it.
Yes.
A lot of times people's convictions are based on their comfort and not anything that makes sense. Just, I don't like these kids with those things in their ears. What's all the tattoos? And, we get those old grumpy old men that just come to play in the business world.
Yes.
But everything's changing. And what we used to be like in the 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever your year was, it's a new world led by millennials, and we need to get real and get it behind them and support them. But a lot of times we make stuff out of just our preference instead of the reality. So if you want to have a diversity, inclusion, and equality program, absolutely have it at your company. But it's everybody. It's not just what you feel comfortable with. And you've got to have a vision of the kind of company you want to be. Am I Zappos or am I McDonald's?
Yeah.
There's a very different culture, or Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, just make it a little clearer. There's a very different vibe in each location. They both serve food, but one wants to be known. I see my world a certain way, and everything they do exudes that. And so you have to have a vision if you're going to have DEI, because otherwise it's chaos.
Yes, yes, yes. Robert, let's lean into the contrarian side of accountability. John.
I didn't know there was one. This is going to be good.
So John, Marty, there are some people that would say, no, I got to keep my goals private. I don't want to have the external pressure. I'm already intrinsically motivated. I don't want to say too much, because if I say something and I don't achieve it, I'm going to let myself down. I'm going to let John Anderson down if I put my goal there and don't achieve it. So, and I just want to keep my goals in a box and not tell anybody. But yet there's some others, myself included, and I'm sure John and Marty are the same page, is no, make your goal public. State it so we can get behind you and rally behind you to help you achieve that goal. Talk about that public versus keeping goals private, Robert, and just the contrarian side.
Sure.
Of, I'm going to do it myself.
I'll tell you from a business perspective, any goal that's not in writing and shared with your whole team is not a goal. It just doesn't count. And so when I meet leaders who say, our goal is this, and I say, well, how's the team responding to that? Well, they're not all aware of it. Every single person from the top to the bottom should know the goals of the company. I help clients create something called a water line. It's a one-page document, like a boat sitting in the water. Anything above the water line, it happens to the boat, who cares? It just doesn't look great. Below the water line, if you puncture a hole in the boat, we got a problem. And I help them decide what the water line looks like based on core values, mission values, purpose, and the key initiatives for the year. And everyone in the company, from the truck driver to the president, needs to know what those are. If we can have goals that are articulated and are clear, we can do things. There's a synergistic value in all of us working towards some goal. The only people who say they don't want their goals to be known are ones who want to weasel out of it later on, and they don't want to have to own it. And so if you want to say, hey, I'm going to quit drinking because that all it does, whenever I drink, I eat a lot of snack food, which is my thing right now. I'm not drinking because I don't like the fact that it makes me eat chips at night. And so I figured out the connection. So since I struggle with the fast food and the crappy food, I'm just not going to drink. So fine. But if I don't tell anyone and I just keep drinking, then nobody knows that, hey, this is how I'm supposed to fix my problem. But today I feel like drinking. You have to own it. You have to put it out there and say, this is what I want, because it's what you want. And if it's not what you want, then you need to choose a better goal. If you're not willing to lay it out, you probably don't have the right goal.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are scared of pressure too, and sometimes pressure is great. Sometimes we need pressure.
Yeah,
you gotta step up to the plate. So pressure is definitely necessary when it comes to your goals.
I don't think pressure is a bad thing. I think pressure is a good thing, right? It helps you keep aligned and keep focused on what you're trying to achieve. No?
Yeah. Well, again, nobody can hold you accountable, but people can support you in your desired goal. And so when we talk about in our book about the idea of when you decide nobody cares until you do, and you decide to make changes, you acknowledge the reality of where you're at, and you look around and you realize, okay, this is going to suck, but I want to get here. It's going to be hard. We're still living in the rental house that we moved into when we sold our home. We still have one car because I lost all my retirement in the years of being foolishness. I'm 61. I only got a certain number of years to rebuild. So we're going to make the compromises. And so we don't have a cool vacation every year. We go stay with family and sleep in their guest room. And, but people go on these cool trips around. We're not having it, but we still have a great life. But so it might suck. Suck is a relative term, but you don't get everything in life. So then once you decide, okay, it might suck, you find a solution and you make it happen. In order to make it happen, you got to tie on to somebody else. we equate in the book this idea of climbing a mountain, the visual of going up the mountain towards accountability.
Yes.
And at one point, when you get to the top, at the very top of the mountain, it's very dangerous. The winds are high. It's very sheer cliffs. And when you mountain climb, you will tie onto a rope. If you're doing Everest, you get to the very top part, you tie onto a buddy. And if you fall on one side, the other guy doesn't stand there and watch you and hope to hold on. He jumps the other way. Because if he doesn't jump, you're both going down.
Yeah.
So you have to tie onto a buddy for real safety, because you're going to fall. And when you fall, if you don't have a buddy who's willing to jump the other way, you're dead. And he's dead too, by the way. So that's where it comes to the groups I lead are for CEOs and business owners. We tie on to other people and we say, look, this is what I want my life to look like. I'm willing to be vulnerable, radically transparent, radically open-minded, and engage in thoughtful disagreement. That's the principles of our group. And so I tie on to other people who will jump for me when I'm going off the cliff. That's smart. That's helpful.
Yeah. Talking with Robert Hunt here, wrapping up our conversation in a few moments here, Robert, so we can get on with this day. But Robert, I want to throw something on the table for you. Marty and I have been talking about this since we started our show, and it's around January resolutions. And John, I haven't had a chance to talk to you about this yet, but Marty and I ran a program in June. We called it January resolutions. There's this phenomena we have as humans. The calendar strikes December, and then it heightens around December 15th, and it goes all the way till December 31st, which is I gotta achieve my goal. I got this resolution I gotta write down. We all, and it's like this social phenomena we all have. And then, and John, who used to own a gym, would sit down with his wife and say, okay, we're gonna make a lot of money in the next month because everybody's gonna sign up. And then January 15th, nobody comes again. Why do we have this phenomena, Robert? For a month every single year, we all race to publicly display our massive accountability goal. And then over the next 30 days, and I'm going to ask the same question to you, Johnny. Why do we take the next 30 days to then not achieve it and then fail and then recycle and do it again every single year? Starting with you, Robert.
I think the reason is we make should goals instead of want goals. I should lose weight. I should save money. I should do this. When it's a should goal, you're probably not going to do it. When it's a want goal, you will do it. You really will. And so the problem is you need to step back and take a look at your life and say, what is my purpose? The thing that creates discipline better than anything else is purpose. When I know my purpose, my why, my purpose creates a vision for my life, and I can see what it's going to look like. That vision fires me up to have a passion for what I'm doing. And that passion creates the intentional actions that I need to live that out. And through that, I have discipline. So where you lack discipline, go back to your purpose. Why do you exist? I don't exist to have a marriage or have a business. I exist to honor the Lord with my life. And part of that is to raise godly children. Part of that's to be nice to my neighbors and care for people. Part of that's to look out for my employees and my clients and care for them and to be honest so that other people can be helped. That purpose is a vision I see in my mind that builds a passion inside of me that makes me act intentionally without any motivation, but I burn for it because I see it and I feel it. That's discipline.
Exceptional. Anderson.
Love it. Yeah, I think that this whole concept of a New Year's resolution should just be scratched altogether. Because what it's saying is, okay, once a year, I'm going to take a crack at something. How about just constantly work at what you want to do, which I love what Robert was saying. If your why is attached to it, you're not waiting until the first of the year to put the nose to the grindstone. But the idea that, this is the way that, God, everybody thinks this way. And it's we've been programmed to think this way, and it's the wrong program, and not only are we programmed to make this goal, but then we're also programmed to realize that, well, everybody kind of forgets about it by the end of January. So I guess it's not that big of a deal if I do it too. So what I say is get the whole concept, scrap the whole thing. If there was a button we could push that would remove it from the human psyche and mind, I would just be pushing it right now.
So instead, John, we're going to monetize it. So we're going to monetize it. So Marty and Keith launched January resolutions, John. So we're going to bring you up to speed on this. Every June, the Business Athlete Performance Lab is giving humans a chance to reclaim their January resolution goals. So for the month of June, we call it January resolutions. Come back to the lab, redeclare your January resolution, Sign up with Keith and Marty and now John so we can help you achieve those goals that you wrote down in January you didn't mean you were going to hit anyways.
Well, brother, clearly that was put into play before I showed up, because I would have never agreed to January and June. I'd have said, furthest I'm going is February 1st. We're going to wrap this thing back every month, because so we're going to let people sit on their asses for 5 months before we swap them on the chin again? Hell no.
Well said, brother. Well said. Well said. So, hey, listen, we're going to be respectful of Mr. Hunt's time here today. We're having a wonderful conversation, talking accountability, talking going to the bathroom, talking age and everything here. But Robert, you have a book and we want to help you sell it. So at this point of the show, I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about the book, tell Nation about the book, and how can they find you? How can they connect with you? And Nation, if you really want accountability partners, come talk to myself, Marty, or John. If you want the second best, go talk to Robert Hunt. So Robert, how can they find you?
Well, you can go to nobodycaresbook.com. That's our website. But for this particular podcast, I have made a landing page for nobodycarespod.com. nobodycarespod.com. And for the first 5 people who go onto that page and fill out the contact form and use the code word LAB, I will mail them a copy of our book.
Nice.
Because I don't care about selling books. I make like $1 every time a book sells on Amazon.
Yeah.
It's not going to, I have to sell 50,000 copies to break even. It's not going to make me any money. But what I want to do is change people's lives.
Yes.
To me, I wrote this book because I saw how screwed up I was when I didn't understand accountability. And the joy of my life that I own my own journey right now is amazing. And I want more people to have that. So if you really want to read the book, go to that page, nobodycarespod.com, and in the comment section, put lab. And I will send you a copy of that book for the first 5 people. You can also find it on Amazon or on our website, nobodycaresbook.com. But I really want you to only buy it if you're going to read it and let it change your life. I don't need to sell books. I need to change lives.
That's
powerful.
That's exceptional stuff. Hey, Robert, question for you. Are you a best-selling author?
I am. Yes, because I say so. Not because
That's the joke. Everybody that writes a book's a bestseller, right?
my mom said it's a bestseller.
I love the fact that Robert confessed the truth, though. You go into Robert's garage, there's boxes and boxes of books, and he's like, honey, yeah, we got to sell these freaking books, man, so I can become a best-selling author and make our money back. Nobody talks about that part. Hey, Robert, I'm going to be an author, but no, you can't go in my garage. Well, why? There's boxes of books that I've pre-bought so I can become the best-selling author.
Well, they introduced 480 books a day into the world of literature.
Dude.
480 books a day. And my publicist, because Salem and I, as a co-author of our book, we both knew we were never going to get this done. And so part of acknowledging reality is just knowing that you need to do something, you need to change something. So we hired a publicist and they had a ghostwriter and they did all the work. We just gave them the idea and the stories and all that. But what we really wanted to do was just to be able to change one life. And we said, together, we spent almost $98,000 between the marketing, the website, the book, all that stuff. And we put in $50,000 each and we're like, who cares? We want to get this book out. And then we said, if we change one life, it's worth $98,000. And we changed a lot of lives. We've heard from a lot of people. And we've already sold all the books that they publish that they create for you as part of the deal. And we ordered another 3,000, sold all those. We've already sold from us somewhere around 5,000 books directly through us, plus whatever Amazon, Target, and Barnes & Noble did. But again, it's a tiny, you got to be hundreds of thousands of copies to make a big bestseller. The point is, I don't care about the label bestseller. What I care is that some one person read it and it changed their life and they own their journey. That gives me joy.
That's powerful, brother. Powerful.
It's exceptional stuff. Robert J. Hunt, what a great conversation, man. I'm really grateful that we were blessed to have you join us in the lab this morning. Great conversation. Thoroughly enjoyed your insights. You definitely gave me some things to think about. I'm sure you gave Marty and John some things to think about. And I know you gave Business Athlete and LinkedIn Nation some things to think about as well. Final words to you, Robert. What you got going on today? And will you come back and see us again?
Man, I would love to come back and talk about margin. Margin is the thing that avoids overload. If you guys ever want to have me back, there's all kinds of topics that I've taught my clients. That's my second most passionate topic, is avoiding overload through the use of margin. There's a lot of principles there I'd love to come back and share with you. To me, the balance of this day is I've got a couple clients I'm coaching that I'm going to meet with. I've got another podcast actually in the afternoon. I've decided that I want to try and get the word out about the book. So if you're influenced by what I shared today, let other people know about the book. More importantly, own your junk. own your journey. Nobody's responsible for your life except for you. But when you take accountability for everything in your life, you gain the power to change anything in your life. And I've seen that in my own life. I've lived it out. My clients are living it out. It works. So take accountability. Your life is way better when you own it.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Great stuff. Robert J. Hunt, my friend, thanks for joining us today. Nation, you can find him on LinkedIn. You can find the book. Where is it again, Robert? What's the website domain?
NobodyCaresBook.com.
NobodyCaresBook.com. My friend Tom joining us from Africa. Thomas, get the NobodyCaresPod.com. Get that to Robert Hunt. He'll get the book to you. Robert, if you're looking for the ultimate safari leader, like the ultimate guide to give you one of the greatest experiences in your life, Tom Najunas from Africa. I spent some time with the young man. He's exceptional. So we'll connect you if you're looking to head over to Africa one day. But Rob, thanks for joining us again. And I'd love to have you back talk about margin. I know I would.
Please.
I saw John and Marty nodding. I think there's some things we can learn from that. So let's get you back in a couple of weeks and let's continue the dialogue, man. I really enjoyed your conversation today. And I got to correct you. This is not a podcast. No, we let the podcast happen for all the informing and boring folks. No, myself, John, and Marty, we get up to entertain and inform. We are a show, Robert, a show.
That's a good point. Thanks for the clarity. I appreciate that. You guys have been a lot of fun.
Glad you had fun.
We'll see you later, Robert. Have a good day, my friend. All right, Robert Hunt has left the lab here, and we're going to continue our chat here this morning, Nation. We're going to get into the second half of our show. We're going to talk about the only 3 compound exercises you need for super strong legs. So some of you today are waking up your day going, it's leg day today. Well, it's leg day every single day in the lab. We're going to get into compound exercises in a couple of moments. But before we do that, we're going to recap couple quick seconds around our conversation with Mr. Hunt. Guys, what did you take from that? What did you take from that, John, from that conversation with Robert today?
Powerful stuff, man. What he was talking about is what people need to hear more,
Yes.
And he, granted, he tells the story in a way that he can tell it well. And the more people we have on that tell this story of all of what accountability and discipline, it's like each story speaks to a different group of people. Yes. And so it's, for me personally, I love having these guys on because they're talking about this, that, and the other. And obviously I have my own version of it, but it's so nice to keep getting those stamps of approval. Yes, that you're on the right track. But for those of you just getting started, hopefully the way he spoke to you, which will allow you to want to have that, to take that first step.
Yeah, well said. Marty, what did you take from that conversation?
No, I think it was great. And I love how he highlighted how being accountable changed his life for the better.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a lot of times when you're stressed and you're looking for answers, the answer's right here in yourself. So you're looking for a coach, you're looking for an accountability partner, and it's like, no, you got to get your ish together. So I think that was a great conversation.
Great dude, eh? I still don't believe that he's as old as he says he is. The way he speaks, his attitude, his energy, his enthusiasm, like, I don't think you're as old as you say you are. So I think we're gonna have to question that license next time he comes back to the lab here. But great conversation. If you're just joining the show here in the second half of Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends, C. Marty Fitt, John Anderson. We're talking accountability here today. The top of the show, we talked about accountability, helping you achieve your goals, helping you find your why. Listen, Nation, you can write down any goal you want, but if you don't have an intrinsic reason to go achieve it, you're just wasting your time. Like, you're actually just wasting your time. So until you're ready to really hold yourself accountable to it, make a public statement. Marty, I told you, and John, I told you when I started the show, the only reason I started my Live in the Lab back at noon Central Time, 8 months ago, was so that I could ensure that I showed up every single day. And I got on the microphone in front of the camera, John and Marty, and told the world that, because I use this as my accountability tool to hold myself accountable to show up tomorrow. Because I believe that if I tell the world that I'm doing this, I'm like, okay, I told the world I'm doing it, I better show up again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Having a live show will definitely keep you accountable.
Absolutely, Marty. Absolutely. Yeah. So, all right, let's get to the conversation on legs day. It's funny, Marty, Johnny, I woke up this morning. I headed down to the lab and I got a note from our good friend Melissa. Melissa with Shaking Girl, and her husband have recently, John and Marty, decided to take a foray into the gym lifestyle, and they've been aggressively going at it. And Marty, Melissa's message this morning: legs day today. And Johnny, with those big emojis of Oh, and it would then the second message was, yeah, so I got introduced to the walking lunge today. I'm like, oh yeah, good one. Good one. So let's talk about compound movements and how confident somebody might be in their leg routine. So we have a poll there today. And, the questions we have out there for your nation before we dig into the only 3 compound exercises. I know you guys have all heard me and Marty talk before John showed up, but we talk about compound movements. Don't get caught up on all the little isolated stuff. Focus on the compound movements. By the end of this conversation today, I can assure you this, because Keith's going to fade back into the background here in a moment. John and Marty are going to give you all you need to know about the 3 compound movements you need for super strong legs. And trust me, legs day sucks, but it is the most important exercise to take care of, because it's going to keep you moving, going to keep those hips strong. It's going to help you achieve those long-term lifestyle goals, John and Marty, of hanging out with your kids when you're 70, 80, going for a trek, going for a walk, go do some skiing. So focus on those legs. So Marty, why don't you kick it off, my friend? Talk about the importance of squats, the king of legs exercises, before I throw it to Johnny. Let's talk about the king of leg exercises, the importance of squats and leg training. Marty.
Man, squats are essential when it comes to your longevity, when it comes to your injury prevention as well, and functionality. So a lot of people don't realize that we squat every day. Like, we're constantly squatting. If you sit down on the toilet, if you sit down in your work chair and stand up, guess what? You're squatting. So we get clients and all these people that say, oh, I got bad knees, I can't do squats. No, you probably need to do squats, right? There's an issue there, right? You probably, hamstrings are weak, glutes are weak, quads are weak, and squats works every muscle in your leg. So there's you just have to do it. You can't avoid it. Another thing too, for men specifically, right? That's where our sex organs are, our genitals, right? So in order to keep blood flowing there and boost testosterone, legs are essential for that as well. Super important there. Not to get too explicit on here, but it's the truth. We keep it real here. But you gotta hit legs. You gotta hit your squats. They're super important.
Johnny, benefits of squats.
100%. First off, I would want to say, if you are dealing with knee pain with the squat, it's because you're doing it wrong. The knee is a very, very strong joint, but think of it like a piece of equipment. If you use a piece of equipment the way it was designed, it will last a long time. But if you use that piece of equipment outside of its design, it breaks down very quickly. So when people have sore knees, it's because it's really not because of probably not because of the squat in the gym. It's probably because of the squat to the chair, squat to the toilet. Every time you're squatting, you're basically displacing the weight through the knee improperly, which puts a lot of stress in one area that shouldn't be. So here's the deal. If you have issues with squatting with knee pain, it can be fixed. It's just learning the proper technique. I can't tell you how many people I help with this. I had a marathon runner come to me, and his knees were so shot. He's like, I have to go up and downstairs. I got to go downstairs backwards because it's too painful. Well, he wanted to start lifting weights. 6 months later, he's going up and downstairs, no problem. He's actually squatting 250 pounds. And this is a guy that was in his 50s. It was only about $180. So what I'm getting at is, if the squat is creating an issue for the knee, it doesn't have to be that way. So that's the first thing with the squat. But the squat makes the whole body strong. It's extremely functional. And then here's what I would do for all of you listening. If you're confident going into the gym and using a bar, great, squat. But if you're not, start squatting in your living room. Body weight squats will get you out of the gate.
Smart.
And yes, and I'm going to give you a quick lesson on how to start off learning to do squat properly, so that when you do go to the gym, your knees don't get banged up. Or if you're basically have sore knees, just living your life, this will help. So basically, back up to a chair. So your knees are at a chair. Take your shoes off. Pull your toes up. If your toes are in the air, you can't help but to keep the weight on the heels of your feet. If your toes are up, you're going to be putting that knee, it's going to be distributing the stress more evenly. So then here's the kicker. When you're standing there, toes up, I know it looks kind of goofy. Your wife's going, what the hell are you doing? You're standing back up to a chair. You got your shoes off. What are you doing? Well, it's going to get even more weird. So instead of thinking about bending your knees, do the squat. Don't think about bending your knees. Send your butt back. don't think about bending your knees. Your knees will bend as a positive side effect. The reason I got you sitting with a chair behind you is because you're probably going to lose your balance and want to sit down. That's okay. You need to learn to squat with the weight on basically your heels and a little bit on the ball of your feet. If you can do this, you'll feel the difference just in your living room. You take that to the gym, your knee problems will start to vanish.
Yeah.
I want to add one thing to what John just said. And when you put the weight on your heels like that, that's going to force your hamstrings to work. And a lot of people we neglect hamstrings, and that's why people get, especially men, we get lower back problems as we get older. We got super weak hamstrings. So when you squat correctly, you're forcing those hamstrings to work, and your hamstrings can kind of dominate the squat sometimes, depending on it depends on your mobility and who you are. But that was good, John.
John, Marty, how often should somebody be squatting per week? Legs, quads, hams, glutes, big muscle groups, a lot of benefits. How often? Now, John, we're not getting on stage. Marty, we're not competing in an arena right now. Let's talk to somebody who's intermediate, right? They've been in the gym for a number of months, and they're using us to be motivated, and they're listening to us to move forward. How often should they be squatting, gentlemen?
I say twice a week at least.
Well, here's my answer. And on that level, it's a little bit, I guess, to put it simple, you want it, like Marty's saying, twice a week, because it's a great movement. You want to do it. But realistically, what my answer would be as often as you can, meaning, are you sore? If you're sore, you got to wait for it to recover. So let's just say that you had a ripping workout, and your second squat workout, you were too sore to do it. That's okay. But if you're able to, the more often you squat, the better it's going to be, provided that you're recovered and ready to go for the next session.
Yeah. Gents, number 2 in our 3 compound lists that are going to help you get your day rolling. The ultimate strength builder, deadlifts. Let's talk about the dead and the strength and power of the dead. Marty Fit.
One thing about the deadlift, this actually applies to squats too. Those big movements, those big compound movements, they're going to burn a ton of calories.
Yeah,
we burn the most calories in our lower body, so that this applies to squats too, specifically. But you're working so many muscles in the deadlift, and just think about that. That's also a functional movement. Those of you that are fathers or mothers listening, you bend down to pick the kid up.
Yep,
that's literally a deadlift. Right. Yep. And so we use it so much in our lives, and people will throw out their back because they don't know how to pick up things properly. Well, doing deadlifts consistently, that translates to real life, right? That's a real life movement.
Yep.
And people are, I'm sure, John, you can agree, or you've heard this 1,000 times. Oh, stay away from deadlifts. They aren't good for you. Well, if you hear that, right, one or two things that person is doing wrong. Either your form is off, or you're lifting too heavy. You can do a deadlift with just a barbell and feel it, right? So they're super important, and just make sure before you increase that weight, your form is on point.
I totally agree, brother. And just like the squat, if the deadlift is creating some sort of issue in your back, it's just you're doing it wrong. So like what I explained in the squat, keeping weight on your heels, that's the same thing with the deadlift, but it's even more difficult because the bar's in front of you. So when you come off the ground, it's going to want to pull you over your toes. As soon as you get pulled over your toes and your heels are light, the whole equation went to hell in a handbag, and you're putting yourself at risk. So going back to what Marty said, you don't need to do much with a deadlift. If you're just using a deadlift to have a better quality of life and get in shape, I mean, you could start off with the bar. There's this thing that we all have, especially in males, that gets in the way when it comes to something like a squat, a bench press, or a deadlift, and it's called the ego.
Yep.
Does it really matter what the gym bros say because you're only deadlifting with the bar? No. You just got to realize that you're doing this for your purpose, your reason, and who gives a damn what anybody else thinks?
Yeah, the benefits of Dead's Nation: comprehensive strength, improve that posture, core stability. It's absolutely a functional application.
Yes.
And Marty leaned into that, right? If there's one thing that I really want to encourage Business Athlete Nation to wrap their head around, is just that in itself. And Marty said it best: you got a child, you're doing Deads. You pick anything up, you're doing Deads. And trust me, as you get older in life, the Deads you're doing now in your 30s are only going to benefit you in your 40s, your 50s, and your 60s. Do the deadlift. We hate them, but man, are they an exceptional exercise.
I know I hate them.
And so do I, but they're just exceptional. John, are you a fan of the Dead, or you're like, I got to go do them, or do you like them?
Anything that challenges me is what I like, because I've been training I've been training since 1983, and I have you want to talk about consistency. I have not missed a week unless it was scheduled in over 3 decades. And part of what keeps me coming back for more is always looking for the challenge. I don't, of course, you can look at a deadlift as a problem. I don't like it. Or you can think, man, you know what? I need to overcome it. And so that's the way that I've always kept things interesting for me. I'm always constantly setting up, weird variations in my training to create something that's new and difficult, so that I continue to want to rise to the challenge. So deadlift is one of those things that you got to reframe it. If you frame the deadlift as something you don't want to do, guess what? You're going to not want to do it as long as you're doing it. And so it's a choice to let it live on the wrong side of your mind.
It's funny, John. It's funny, John, because it's not that I hate doing it. I hate doing it. But when I get under the rack, I love it because I understand all the, because I've been not lifting as long as you, well, maybe as long as you, but I'm old enough and wise enough to know the benefits of it. So I do it and I love it and I find a way to love it, right? Because when I'm done, I'm like, yes, I feel great. My hands feel great. I feel strong, and I know that it's going to help me achieve my lifestyle goals, hanging out with my kids in my 60s and 70s and 80s, because I'm focused on getting my deadlifts in. Number 3, gents, in the 3 compound movements nation. By the end of the show today, if you're looking to go to the gym today, take care. Actually, don't even go to the gym. Just hit your own house. We got 3 movements, and all you got to do, then you're done for the day. Squats, deadlifts, and then number 3, gents, the lunge, the unilateral powerhouse, the importance of lunges in leg training. Let's start with you, John. First of all, talk about the importance of lunges in leg training.
Well, I think the first thing that going right back to, I'm gonna take a little bite off of Marty. It's functional, number 1, but I'll let you talk about the function. I'll leave something behind for you, brother. I won't chew all the meat off the bone. But the lunges, there's a lot of coordination that goes into this. You got a walking lunge, you got a standing lunge, you got a weighted lunge. And so I would say that the thing that I love about the lunge is most people are not going to use a weight. They're just going to use their body weight, even if they're in the gym. So guess what? This is the perfect crossover exercise. You can do it at home. You can do it at work. You can do it in the park. Hell, you could pull over in a parking lot and do some lunges. So the lunge is that exercise. If you're running late, you don't have time to go to the gym. The lunge is that exercise that all you got to do is show up, and you can show up anywhere to get it done. I can't tell you how many hotels I have lunged up and down some long hallway, and it has whooped my ass.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, when the workout is over, do you feel like you gave it up? Do you feel like you put in the effort? Because if you judge your effort, it doesn't make a difference where you are and what you're doing. And lunging, you can do it anywhere. So show up, get your lunges, no matter where you are, and check that box.
Love that. Marty?
No, absolutely. And one thing, lunges help with your balance. And actually some core is core work too, because you're unilaterally training. And then, I tell my runners all the time too, how are you running these distances and you don't lunge? You don't work on you're pretty much mimicking the same movement with a run as you are on a lunge. So how are you not working on that movement? How do you expect to become a better runner if you don't work on your lunge? So lunges definitely improve your running, your sprints. Look at any professional athlete, track runners, NFL players, NBA players, soccer players. They all do lunges. So super important. Get them done. No excuses.
Nation, if you can walk, you can lunge.
Yep.
It's actually as simple as that. And if you just reflect upon what I'm going to say next, Business Athlete Nation, you can squat in your house.
Yep.
You can deadlift in your house.
Yep.
You can lunge in your house.
Yep.
There's no reason at all today, nation. 9:30 Eastern time, 8:30 Central time, 6:30 Pacific time as you're starting your day. We're giving you 3 things you can do today that will absolutely help you be better tomorrow and will absolutely help you be better in 10 years from now. Whether you want to do them, well, that's up to the accountability. That starts the conversation today. But we're giving you nuggets right now that it costs you no money. You don't have to go anywhere. It's going to improve your life. So compound exercises like squats, deadlifts, and lunges are essential for building super strong legs. They offer those numerous benefits, including increased strength, improved balance and stability, enhanced functional fitness, and it's going to set your mind straight for the rest of the day. Don't forget the legs, nation. Don't forget the legs. John, Marty, we're coming up to the end of the show. I can see John getting antsy in the seat. Guys, it has been 4 days of doing this with the 3 of us, and I got to say, guys, I'm having a hell of a lot of fun. And John, man, you've been a welcome addition to the team, pal. A lot of fun, brother. A lot of fun, man.
John, you turned us up a little bit, man. You added a lot to the show.
100%.
I mean, if I didn't, you'd kick me the hell out of here. So I got no choice.
So, guys, we're back tomorrow with another show. So the topics are moving right now. I got a few topics on the table because I had a guest come and go. But Marty, we're going to be walking Thomas Woodhams tomorrow morning into the show, and Brooks Woodar. John, you're going to meet some of our friends on LinkedIn. We're going to have some fun conversation tomorrow. It's going to be a fun Friday. We're going to lighten the mood a little bit, so you guys watch for the topics coming across the radar, coming across your desk later today. But another awesome show, guys. We talked accountability to kick the show off. We talked compound movements to keep the day going. There's no reason, guys, there's no reason at all to keep that day moving. John, we'll talk to you throughout. Marty, we'll talk to you throughout.
I'm sorry. Say again, brother.
I said we'll talk to you throughout the day today.
Yeah, absolutely. Hell yes.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Marty, what do you got going on today, brother? You got some clients you're going to go meet with today?
Got some clients. Got to get shoulders in today.
Nice.
And probably record some videos, probably yelling at the camera a little bit.
Nice.
I got some BAPL videos coming up too. I got to share them with you if you want me to. If not, I could just surprise you.
I'd love that. And Enzo, we haven't forgotten about you, pal. I'm learning the back and forth here. But Enzo, good to see you here. Amazing addition. I agree, buddy. I agree. Enzo scored the winner in the last minute of the regular season game last night. That is exceptional, Enzo.
Let's go.
The home
Very
fight.
Nice.
That is awesome, buddy. Catch you lads tomorrow. We will be here, Enzo. You all know where to find us Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern time here in the lab. Mornings, subscribe to the channel, guys. Subscribe, like it, comment, share with your friends. And then, of course, we'll see you guys tomorrow. John, Marty, have a good one, guys. We'll see you later.
Right on.
Have a good one.